warm welcome to November's Earth Prediction Psi card series using collective conscious energies and also that of remote viewing. So let us see what the cards decide to deliver for November. This prediction is a little later than usual because I haven't been able to fit the time in for it, and I often wonder in cases like that what that message is about in itself. So November 2017 Earth Prediction Series. Okay. The Sage. Work. It's really strange, but I knew that card was going to come out, and I thought to myself the other day, what are the other meanings of the work card? Because we haven't got a lot for it. The Fool, the Scales, Money, and the Puzzle. I will move that back for you so you can see the cards. So if you've been following this series by now, you will know that the puzzle is an enigma in itself, and I think in all the years I have been doing this, it has come out only, I think now 4 times. We believe it indicates an unknown and I have just paused in the procedures there to allow that Hercules to fly overhead. It is a degree of an unknown event that can take place. So some of those cards there for November, the Fool in particular, the Scales and the Puzzle, are cards that I interpret with energy and activation and things occurring. So let's go back to the very start, and we see the Sage, and we see here that here's a man sitting making mathematical calculations. He appears to be very involved in some scenario along the lines of our stars or galaxy or knowledge or awareness. He often portends things to do with technological information and changes coming our way, either in how we address technological issues or new ideas that are being suddenly brought to our awareness. And this can have to do with space development or space programs, satellite technology, rockets, that type of thing. It can also have to do with issues to do with the stars and looking at planets, planetary alignments, new informations about the planets in our solar system or our galaxy or our universe, as well as events that take place around them. So it could even signal things such as comets, meteorites, asteroids, that type of thing as well. He does appear to be very of old dress, like you would think through parts of old Europe or the Middle East. So this can also have that feeling of energy for the month of November, so something either that attracts our attention to that part of Europe or the Middle East, possibly for political reasons or reasons to do with legal issues and the writing down of something, so documents. The next card, the Work card, often talks to me about time. It looks like a clock, the inner workings of a clock. So I sometimes think that time is odd when this card comes about, and certainly we're in November, we're in a season of juxtapositional change. We're merging from spring into summer or autumn into winter. So there is a time thing going on there, especially with the way the sun moves around our planet. We get our lengthening or shortening days. There can also be anomalies with time. So for any of you who are into time slips or parallel time dimensions or things like that, there could be some more of those events, either at a personal level or a global level even. The other thing that it can represent is issues to do with work or workers in institutions. So sometimes this is when large groups of people who are working or employed by companies are affected one way or another. or maybe there are massive strikes within big companies that affect production or something along those lines. There might be some really big companies who have to let workers off for one reason or another. And also it can be workplace events that take place, so accidents in the working place. The other thing that it can represent is big engines, because those look like the cogs of a very big engine. So things like trains, boats in particular have big engines like that, or big vehicles that ferry people around. So boats, trains, buses, and possibly even planes. The Fool card generally always represents the shaking or earthquake feeling, because there's a house teetering on the edge of a cliff over here. So I have often felt it to be large quakes, usually when the Fool card comes out, and that homes or buildings are affected. Now, I'm not sure that I have particularly picked up a certain area of the globe for this, but I think in most cases it has been in the Northern Hemisphere area. And it can be very unexpected, because the Fool is all about sudden, unexpected events. So there's a possibility with that. And he sits here right next to the Scales card, which I have always said is very much about earthquakes as well. Now, the Scales card is giving me messages for both Northern and Southern Hemisphere quakes. Here comes our plane again overhead. It's a C-31 Hercules that is part of our Whenuapai Air Base, which is New Zealand's military designation, which is not far from where I live. But coming back to the Scales card, we see that's like an apple tree and it's producing apples, and that is usually at the time frame of autumn, which it is in the Northern Hemisphere at the moment. So it is telling us that these quakes could be in the Northern Hemisphere area, could be up there. But I have also noted that when this card, the Scales card, comes out, we get a degree of Southern Hemisphere quakes as well, and sometimes close to and around the New Zealand area, so up and through the Kermadec Trench or up through the Tongan or Vanuatuan areas. The other thing about the Scales card, it can represent trees literally being damaged, because it is a tree, and this could be in way of either like fires again, or fires or floods, something along those lines. It also represents legal representation and needing things to be brought back into balance. So it feels as in November there is a degree of imbalance in the areas again. So this can be people on the planet with imbalanced emotions, it can be situations, it can be political parties, and it can be Gaia herself, that she's shaking and rocking and rolling, so she's out of balance. We come to number 10 and we see the Money card. Again, this can relate to money quite literally, and suggesting that money is a little bit tense in the month of November for various reasons. So some countries could feel a bit of a closing down or a tightening up. Now it can also represent ancient antiquities or knowledge of our ancient history on Earth being unearthed and brought to our attention. And this can sometimes be very new information that we have not been aware of. So it could even be things, new finds around the globe, like looking for the lost city of Atlantis, that type of thing. Or it could have to do with land finds, unearthing ancient old villages and information like that, that change our understanding of our demographics of humans on the planet. It can also represent silver, gold and oil, and so there could be some movement for those particular forms of money in the month of November. And they could alter their pattern either way. These look like silver coins in the ground, so whether or not silver or gold have a change in their pattern, I haven't been following the prices. I'm not sure if it means they're going up or down, but everyone put your thoughts into this. It's really interesting to hear your concepts as well. It also, I think, means, we see a barren field, so we're thinking of a lack of food, so we're seeing crops being able to be used around the globe quite a lot, and I think this will show up again in November. This is either due to heat or flood or fire loss, so there's a sign that there's hard times on the ground for farmers. So farming industries could be in the news as well. There could be events or issues or ideas or problems around that needs to be addressed one way or another. And we come finally to the puzzle card, and I've mentioned it briefly. It's very odd that it's even designed the way it is, because all of the other cards sit in the portrait position, yet this card is designed really to be looked at landscape-wise, yet the words are portrait-wise. So exactly what it means is defies us all, but you can be sure that it can be quite big events that occur. And I often think in the back of my mind, is it something like a North Korea letting off his nuclear explosion or his hydrogen bomb, or is it something that happens that goes towards changing the course of something in the makings of history? And that's why this one here is a little bit strange. These two here, are they telling us about time being altered, or something about either the past events that come to light or future events that are formatted now that are changing the course of the direction of an outcome? So I guess you can look at the puzzle either way, positively or negatively. We'll wait and see. So there's your reading for November. It is actually there are quite a lot of different messages coming through, and they're an unusual mix of cards in as much that quite a few of them don't turn up very often indeed. So there seem to be some different messages coming, or they're intensifying. Okay guys, thanks for tuning in. Hey, have a safe, happy November ahead, and I'll see you all in December. Take care everyone. Namaste.